Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Rhineverse as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes.
More like a remnant memory type ghost, not the full thing. But also, it could...
It's just somebody moving their garbage can.
Cash, you can't be growling right now.
Hey, you okay? Oh, whoa,
Stop.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Shh.
Welcome to Muses of Mythology, a podcast where we explore how ancient myths become part of modern pop culture through the lens of Rick the Kane Chronicles. This is story 124. Can DJ survive the Egyptian afterlife? Actually, it's just called the Egyptian afterlife. I'm your co-host and podcasting muse, Darien and Smartt. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
How's everybody doing today? I'm DJ the Muse, and I've been playing a lot of Blueprints recently.
How do you like it?
I'm figuring it out. I don't know what I'm figuring out, but I'm figuring it out.
I feel like that's the point of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just every time you get, like, suddenly a new room shows up in the draft that you haven't seen, even though you've sunk 20 hours in this. You're like, what? Okay. And it unlocks, like, another path of puzzles. It's really cool.
Nice. I'm glad you're having fun.
Yeah.
Podcast, a video game podcast I really like. 3 out of the 4 hosts loved Blueprints. And the 4th couldn't play it because he's very colorblind. And I don't know if he's just colorblind, and Blueprints is planning on releasing colorblind accessibility options. They just haven't done it yet. And it's a shame because it does sound
there
like
is some color coding to the game. So.
Yeah. And so they did not discuss it on their Game of the Year because they are all very confident that it's going to be a top runner, but only when all of them can play it. So it sounds like this in 2026 when they get to the end of the year. They'll like be able to include Blueprints.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention of it's kind of...
Would have gotten it, but you know.
It is kind of crazy. Hey, be more on top of it. Accessibility matters.
You know, it's indie teams or whatever.
Let's muse about in the garden for a minute. DJ.
What's up?
It's an episode. It's a big episode.
That it is. So do you want me to lie it down on this table? Is that where we're...
No.
I see the hooks.
No, the other table.
Oh,
okay. That one's actually already been used. We haven't sanitized it yet.
I get it. Thank you.
So, actually, well done. My first question was going to be like, okay, you've died. What do you do first?
Removal of the intestines and embalming?
Yeah, so good job. That was a trick question. The first thing you do is make sure someone fucking mummifies you.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you do. But actually, before we get into that, I want to real quick shout out our friend Owen. Well, my friend Owen. Your colleague Owen. From
Acquaintance,
mutual, mayhaps, host of Through the Mist, who, when listening to our Anubis episode, messaged me on Discord and said, I suddenly had the thought that the reason kind of every Egypt god we know has a link to death is because the best kept stuff is basically all from the inside of a tomb.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, every piece we have is like almost always in some sort of like funerary rite, the death rite. And so anyone mentioned
people like it.
Yeah, it is. But
it's their
like
stuff too.
Yeah. But like we have things from other parts of the culture, but a vast majority of what was preserved is associated with death.
Yeah.
So it'd be like if all we had, or if like, let's say 80% of what we had from Greek mythology was anything associated with like a death rite or ritual. Hades would probably seem like a way bigger deal than like Zeus or Apollo. Like Hermes would seem like a way bigger deal than Apollo. He's a psychopomp who's ferrying souls to the dead. We wouldn't know much about the other ones, or they wouldn't seem as mentioned as often. And I think that was super important for the reoccurring bit of like every god has something to do with the death. It's probably because most of the records we have was them in the context of death. So shout out to Owen. We've only been doing this for like over a year, and I didn't even make that connection.
Didn't even clock it.
Thanks, Owen. So, okay. This episode, I wanted to do a couple different things. And first, I wanted to spend a little bit more time defining a couple of terms that got used a lot over the course of this season, but it wasn't until like 2/3 of the way through that it dawned on me that I should have more strongly defined them early on. But I didn't know what they were until halfway through the season when these things kept coming up in like resources for research.
Okay.
For example, the pyramid texts.
Yeah.
DJ, do you recall what the pyramid texts are?
Texts found inside pyramids that's like, was it the Osiris battle was Set or Horus battle was Set?
Is mentioned in the pyramid text. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So exactly. So it is the first, or at the very least, the earliest one we have found was from the pyramid of King Unes of the 5th dynasty, which would have been around 2400 BCE.
Yeah.
And these were funerary rites, a series of spells, or like essentially a series of like spells or utterances that outline the story of the pharaoh, why he's so great, why he deserves to be live forever with Ra in the afterlife, and also all of the things that need to get done in order to protect his essence in order to achieve that.
Yeah.
It began as being like just for the pharaoh, although by the 6th dynasty, we do see a queen who has gotten the same pyramid text, those funerary rites, in her tomb. And then by the end of the Old Kingdom, essentially like any of the like governors or high-ranking officials also began to get this right.
It's okay. That shit sounds kind of badass. How do we expand that?
Yes, they were like, hey, I'm important. I also would like to live forever in the afterlife.
I feel like I've done
Ra.
a good job.
Mm-hmm. So the pyramid texts specifically focus on like essentially transforming the deceased soul so they could join the gods, specifically Ra, in like the celestial realm of the heavens. It's kind of the main theory of like why the pyramid looks like that. Big at the bottom, narrowing to the top. Beyond the fact that, as we discussed very recently, that's just the best way, the easiest way to build large structures.
To build something tall.
Yeah, if you don't have like more advanced architecture knowledge.
Yeah.
But also that it's like a ramp to the heavens to just help the pharaoh's soul straight up. No worries.
Great.
5th floor, menswear. 6th floor, celestial heavens with Ra.
Love to see it.
That's the vibe. That's the first major funerary text we have. And it does not exist. I guess, what's the way I want to word that? It will transform and evolve over time. Because again, 5,000 years of Egyptian history.
Yeah.
By the Middle Kingdom, we don't have the pyramid texts anymore. Because we don't have pyramids. Like, there's still pyramids. We see the pyramids. They know
but they're just not building them anymore.
The time of the pyramids was the Old Kingdom. By the Middle Kingdom, we're not doing that anymore. And now we have the coffin texts.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very similar narrative, I guess is the word I want to use, and purpose. And DJ, where do you think we find the coffin text?
In the coffins.
Hell yeah, we do. Written on the inner surfaces of coffins. This is the new version of the language, because the language of ancient Egypt evolved as all things do. There are new spells and included illustrations, which is something the pyramid texts didn't have. So, like, so you're imagining that'd be actually kind of creepy. I'm just picturing right now. You walk inside a pyramid and it's just writing on the walls. Not big, elaborate carvings, just text. Like, it'd feel way more upsetting than if there was text and also pictures.
The hieroglyphs definitely look better when scraped on a wall than fucking text.
Yes! So in addition to the royal...
What does it mean? Clearly this is like, but it's like, this is all the guy knows how to like communicate with writing, and so he's just scraping it across.
Just on the wall. So in addition to high-ranking officials and royalty, wealthy private citizens were also known to be buried with the coffin texts. Because it's kind of expensive to have
carved coffin.
To get this put in a so you start to see death become sort of luxury. Yeah, if you were wealthy and you could afford to have these painted your coffin decorated with this, or you could afford to have your family members buried with these rites, like that's way more expensive than if you were not in that socioeconomic class. The coffin tests focus on navigating the underworld, the Duat, ruled by Osiris, right? So we have Osiris as our main figure. We're not going into the heavens. We actually have this like other world, the Duat more. Because again, we're not pyramids straight shot in the sky. And there are also many dangers the deceased would have to overcome to avoid dying, quote, a second death. And the next evolution of this, like what we'd call, like, I guess kind of what I'd say, the final evolution is just a 3 Pokemon evolution series. That'd be cute as hell. Can someone design a Pokemon, fake Pokemon that's pyramid text, coffin text, Book of the Dead?
Yeah, it would start off as like a pyramid. It's like a small little pyramid, and it's ghost type, obviously. Then it becomes just this coffin, but we already have a ghost.
Grease, yeah.
And then it just becomes this big evil book.
Big evil book. Yeah, and listen, and that's
And it
often
goes
how
stone, grass, fairy, dual typed with the ghost.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I love that. So the pyramid text is what we get arising in the New Kingdom. Now, the pyramid text, what did I say? No, the Book of the Dead.
Book of the Dead.
The Book of the Dead. And these are... The first spell that we see that is like identified as being part of the Book of the Dead and what would become this object, the earliest known one we have is dated to the beginning of the Second Intermediate Period, so around 1700 BCE, at the end of the Middle Kingdom before the rise of the New Kingdom, right? And the earliest known occurrence of these spells were found in the coffin of Queen Menuhotep of the 16th dynasty,
Okay.
which I thought was interesting.
Nice.
So in the New Kingdom proper, around 1550 BCE, is where we start to see the Book of the Dead being used, and it would continue to be used through like 50 BC. The original Egyptian name for the text is it's again, there's no vowels. So the translation for the original Egyptian name is the Spells of Coming Forth by Day. And we get the name Book of the Dead from Carl Richard Lepsius in 1842, who's a German Egyptologist who did the first translation of these texts, and he gave it a German name, Totenbuch. Yeah, Totenbuch. Sure. Which translates in English to...
Totenbach.
Yeah. Yes, that's better. Totenbach. Yeah. And that in English translates to Book of the Dead, which is like way stronger marketing than I would say Spells of Coming Forth by Day. It's just Book of the Dead hits harder. It's a little cleaner. It's more evocative. In the English language, I'm sure in ancient Egyptian, Spells of Coming Forth by Day hit really hard.
Outstanding.
So, it was written on papyrus and placed in the coffin or the burial chamber of the deceased. And there's no single canonical Book of the Dead, right? The surviving papyri contain like various selections of these religical and magical texts, and they vary considerably based on like the spells that are included or what the illustrations are. Some people probably commissioned their own versions of the Book of the Dead based on what they thought was going to be most important. Possibly the things like, listen, I can't afford the whole thing. Let's just do like a third of it. This is the most important part, and that's what I can afford. And so
I feel like I've been pretty good within these bounds.
Yeah, so when you have like a translation, it's usually like translating one specific papyrus, or if folks are pulling from like all the known ones we have to show the comparisons. The Book of the Dead is where we get the our modern idea of what the Egyptian afterlife looked like. For example, the famous spell 125 is where we get the weighing of the heart. That iconic, like Anubis and Osiris and Thoth and the feather of Mot and the heart, like that imagery comes from the Book of the Dead. It doesn't, as far as we know, it didn't appear to exist as part of like Egyptian death beliefs until we get to the New Kingdom. The first known account of it is actually from the reign of Hatshepsut and Thutmose III, circa 1475 BC. So relatively late in the game for the Egyptian belief system. Around 190 spells are known, but as I said, like no single manuscript contains them all. So when we get to that, I'll kind of give you just a highlight reel of some that I thought were cool. One more thing I wanted to break down. So those are the 3 major pieces that I want to really articulate. And then one more thing I want to take down is the Egyptian concept of the soul and self. This is something we've stumbled over, maybe, a lot this season as we try to remember, was it as Ba? Was it as Rin? What did Khonshu eat? So, DJ, off the top of your head, can you name all of the parts of the Egyptian self?
I truthfully only remember Ba and Ren right now.
Okay. What are those?
Is the bot, that was the bird person thing, right?
Yes.
Ren is your name.
Yes.
And then I know there's like memory. You say like your senses is one of your ba?
Kinda, yeah.
And then I have no idea.
No, that's good. There are way more than I thought. And it also sounds like it kind of depends on what sources you're pulling through, like how they're going to break them down. So what I found is like, here are every element of this. That's not to say this all together. These were it at all times.
Yeah.
First, we have the Kets, which is the physical body.
Okay.
And this is the thing that needs to be preserved in order for the rest of your sense of self to be judged in the underworld. The funerary rites were meant to like reawaken the body itself. The Shah is the spiritual body, which is kind of what forms if everything goes right for you while you're going through the afterlife. It's also, okay, this was hard. When I first started researching this episode, like, I had to stop after I got through this part because it was so hard to, like, understand what these were and what they meant in the context of, like, the Egyptian belief system. And, like, also, more to the point, like, just find a good way to, like, compare them to, like, something we could understand today. So, think Ghost? Ghost.
Your ghost?
Ghost. This is what it would be if Ghost, I kind of think. Because, like, there are some... We found some evidence that the Egyptians did believe that their individuals could return as an avenging spirit to seek vengeance on those who had wronged them, and it would be the Sa that came back.
Okay.
So, not like a full... More like a remnant memory type ghost, not the full thing. So, but the thing about it is that the Sa could probably only exist if someone successfully navigates the rest of the afterlife.
Okay.
The next level is we have the Ren, that name, your very sense of identity, the sense of self. It was believed that the Ren could actually occupy a statue as a secondary body if the person's name was put on it. And that's pretty interesting.
That's fun.
Yep, the next part is the Ba. It is your personality. And this is the part that's depicted as a bird with the human head on it, and able to actually travel and move. Next, we have the Ka, which is kind of vital essence. I wrote breath ?
Life force.
Yes, it's what separates the living from the dead. What
Sure,
separates
life force.
Yeah, what separates you as a living person versus a Ren inhabiting a statue. The Ka actually needs to be sustained. It is the part that does not leave the tomb, basically. And so this is what offerings are actually left for. But the Ka isn't like if you left someone, like if it were me and you left some like good popped popcorn, and as I hope you would, because I'd be going down on some popcorn these days. You left me popcorn. My Ka would not eat the kernels. My Ka would eat the Ka of the popcorn. The essence of the popcorn is what would be devoured, right?
Yeah.
So food, water, incense, all those things that are left in a tomb, it is meant to sustain the Ka. Then we have the Ib, which is the heart. Literally the heart. It's
It's
the
just
heart.
a heart.
This is what's
inside
going to
your
be
chest.
judged. Yeah, the heart in your chest, that'll be judged in the afterlife. Next is the Shut, which is literally their shadow. And I could not find... This is also what tripped me up. I desperately wanted to be like, what do you mean? Why?
Why is shadows
Where's the
part of your
shadow go?
personality?
What? It's there. It's the thing that's always there. So it's like, yeah, but why? What do they believe about it? What do they think about
I
it?
wanna
What
know
did it
the- I
represent?
want to know the shadow god. What
Like,
the fuck?
Where's it? I don't know. That
This is
also made me
ridiculous.
mad. Where I was like, tell me more, and the internet said no.
Hate to see it.
And then we have the Sakhem, which is, I saw it described as power or formed. It is mentioned in the Book of the Dead, but it doesn't seem to be well understood by scholars as like what ancient Egyptians meant when they referenced this as an aspect of the self. And then finally we have the Ak, which is kind of like translated as intellect. This is where the Ba and the Ka are actually reunited in the afterlife, where the soul joins Ra in the heavens. I saw, quote, Ak was a blessed spirit with magical powers who would dwell among the gods.
Fun.
So if you made it all, aspects of yourself would form the Ka, or not the Ka, the Ak, and that's the part of you that gets to hang out with the gods in the afterlife.
Nice.
DJ, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I have mismarketed this episode.
Yeah.
I did really want it to be a fun quiz of DJ. I did want it to be like a choose your own adventure style. Hey, DJ, do you do this or do you do this? And unfortunately, that's just not what it ended up being, because
The afterlife was a little deeper.
yes, it's like it's just not that. What I expected it to be. Because even the Book of the Dead, it's not. I'm going to get to this part where I'm going to pull from like the way these spells have been organized and classified as like kind of an overall theme. But even the Book of the Dead doesn't do that. Like, it's not super narrative. It's not narrative. Yeah. There were like references and like chunks of it that seem to focus on certain steps, but not step by step. Like, I feel like if you didn't already understand what this was, you can't learn a lot from it from this piece alone. It would require a wider understanding of the cultures and the beliefs and the practices to get like what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
So I did want it to be a fun game. I don't think it's going to be quite that, and I do apologize. I'm going to call the episode "Could You Survive the Egyptian Afterlife?" because that's just better marketing. It's like Book of the Dead versus Spells for Coming Forth of the Day.
Exactly.
Right? So that's where we're at. And it is cool. I did learn some interesting things, but DJ, you already knocked at the park, which like first chunk of spells, like from spell like 1 to 20, is like prep work for burial. Not even quite burial yet, just prep work. So
mummification and all that.
Kind of. So the first spell is for the day of burial, often accompanied with a lavish vignette showing the funerary procession. This is when they say a spell for going out into the day, going forth into the day. It's like afterlife.
Yeah.
Like not quite death, but like going forth beyond that. Yeah. Like that's what it's all about. Spells.
Into the light.
Yeah. DJ, what do you think? What else do you think would be in this section of like, all right, bodies prepare, we're going to prepare the funeral rites, like based on the things we've read about in the Kane Chronicles, things like that, like what comes to mind that you think these spells might? And I'm going to ask you this for every single time, and feel free to be unhinged. It's not a test. It's just to make sure you get to say things in this episode.
Invitations to the funeral. Get sent out. Clearly.
You know, here's the thing. I was about to say there are no wrong answers, but that is a wrong answer.
Wow, you hate to see it. Nobody's coming.
No one's coming. That's
you didn't
so
inform
sad.
anybody, dude.
That's true. That's what the spell 6, the Shopty spell, is for. No one's coming, but you're going to have lots of help in the afterlife.
Love to see it.
Spell 7 will protect you from animals.
Nice.
Not like in the afterlife. This is going to protect your body from animals.
Coyotes, they were a problem.
Yes. Yes, we discussed that in the end. Wolves, DJ. Wolves are a problem. The Egyptian wolf. Spell 17 is specifically a text about the creator god Atum. It is noted as being one of the longest, most complex, and most frequently included spell. Its purpose is to ensure that the owner can demonstrate their knowledge of religious secrets if challenged in the afterlife. You got to prove you belong there.
Okay.
So here's a real quick reminder of everything hey, you're dead now. You need to remember these in case someone asks you. You didn't stumble.
Holding his eyes open to like look at it.
Hey, do you remember? We don't want anyone thinking you stumbled into the wrong afterlife.
Yeah.
And spell 20 is
showing up to carry on without any Jockma. Like...
Oh, yeah, exactly, right?
Where the fuck am I?
You don't want that to happen.
Who are you?
The Book of the Dead is to make sure none of those faux pas happen.
We don't do like big cloaky figures. What is this?
I know, right? So spell 20 is actually an appeal to Thoth to vindicate him before the tribunals of the gods, like asking Thoth to put in a good word for you.
Mm-hmm.
This next section is from spells 21 to 30 is the preservation of the parts of the being.
Nice.
This is the mummification part. This is where you're going step by step what you're going to do with the physical body.
Yeah.
With the
get all the organs out of the nose.
Yep, just stick it up there and spin it all around and pull it out. If you don't want to like cut open the chest and now you've
You've desecrated the body. You can't use that anymore.
So the first 21 to 23 spells, they are all concerned with the opening of the mouth ritual. And then after that, we have spell 25, which causes the deceased to remember their name after death. A thing that I would have liked someone to do from the jump. But you know what? Maybe wait until my body's totally mummified before you start to give me back my sense of self.
Yeah.
Actually do all that first. Spells 26 through 29 are all about preserving and guarding against the loss of the heart. Because if you lose your heart before you get to the Hall of Judgment, you're kind of fucked. So all of these are to protect it. But hey, don't worry about it, because spell 29b guards against the loss of the heart by means of a heart amulet.
Spell 29b, Roman numerical I. You also get a Coke.
Yeah.
That's great.
Just have diet. I'm so sorry. Is Pepsi okay? No, it's not.
No, I'm a pharaoh. It's not okay.
It's actually not okay. I'll have an iced tea instead. It's fine. I'll have water. It's okay. So this spell has also been found on manuscripts and inscribed in like heart-shaped amulets buried with the dead. And it reads, I am the Bennu, soul of Ra, who guides the gods to the netherworld when they go forth. The souls on earth will do what they desire, and the soul of, insert name here, will go forth at his desire.
Nice.
And then we have spell 30b, which is an appeal to the heart to not betray the owner during the weighing of the heart ritual, which we'll see later. Basically,
not betray the owner, trying to bribe the heart to be like, put in a good word for your boy.
Basically, it's like, hey, if they like, it also sometimes they'll just like, you don't need to use your real heart for this. Here's a heart amulet instead. So they won't find out all the shitty things you actually did. Don't worry about that. Here's what these
pay your
spells
way into
are
heaven.
Yes, it's exactly that. It's exactly that, which is like really undermines my whole like why I love
hate to see it.
This vibe. Is like I love that idea of the heart. You cannot hide your true self in the end of all things.
Yeah, but like Anubis, he's pretty cool with it.
I mean, most things are chill. We'll get to all. Listen, by and large, we're gonna get to all the. There are 42 things that you have to say you did not do in order to be a cool, chill person, basically, and they're all things that are pretty fucking easy to accomplish.
You hate to
I'll
see
be
it.
super honest. Oh, by that I mean they're easy not to accidentally do. Yeah, they're all like, most people, if they're actually cool and chill, probably aren't going to do any of these things.
Yeah.
You have to be a out of your way bastard.
Yeah.
It sounds like. But we'll get to that.
Okay.
We're still preparing your body and soul. So, heart manuscript. Don't worry if your heart's gonna if your heart's gonna blab on you. You got a fake one instead.
This is good for one heart lie.
Only one, and there's 42.
This is good for one elimination bypass. Whatever the fuck they're called.
What is it? You found the immunity idol.
Immunity idol. That's what it was.
Yep. So spells 31 and 53 are protection from peril. A lot of making sure the deceased is not going to be harmed by malevolent forces in the afterlife, right? So spell 31, right off the bat, you're going to stop the dead from being harmed by crocodiles in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
Spell 32, the deceased is going to take on the identity of Ra and drive back 8 crocodiles with a spear. Spells 33 through 40 are protection against snakes or snake bites. And that just really tells you how big a fucking problem snakes were for the everyday ancient Egyptian.
They could move through sand very quickly.
We talked about snakes a lot during the last episode, and then I edited it, and I was like, I included like, hey, if you have like phobia of snakes, this episode's not for you.
No.
That's like the opening line of the show notes.
If you don't like snakes.
Hey, this is a lot of snakes. That's a lot. We talk about snakes. And that's why like 7 spells in the Book of the Dead are protecting you from snakes. Spell 44 is for not dying a second time in the realm of the dead. Because that was like a big problem. Like if you died down there, you die for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like your soul gone.
I like existence.
Yes, right? That's the whole point of this, is to make sure you have a continued existence when you shuffle off this mortal coil. Don't die to snakes. Spell 51 is to not go upside down in the underworld. And I had to do some digging because I was like, what the fuck does that mean? It does not mean like doing a forever handstand, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean doesn't mean like Bobby's gonna pick you up by your ankles and shake out all the change in your pockets, okay? It means literally getting turned, your insides inside out. because the next spell is to make sure you do not eat excrement in the underworld. And do not eat excrement or drink urine in the underworld. Because that's what would happen if your insides turned
flipped around.
Mm-hmm. It's not good.
Why do they think that would happen?
Man, that's a great question, D. Wow, what a good question.
They're removing those. They're out of the body.
You have such a good question, DJ.
Why is it just suddenly the main body gets flipped?
I don't know.
And in the
I'd love to
underworld,
tell
but the
you
organs
why
don't move.
This is a problem. Why this was a thing that the ancient Egyptians were concerned about in the afterlife.
What the fuck?
I don't know why this specifically was a fear. No, but maybe it's because after we've done all that, now we're going to get to this next batch of spells, 54 through 63, which are all about giving you the power to eat and drink again. So first before we do that, we got to make sure you're not going to turn inside out. And now that we've done that, we are going to
let you use those bad boys.
Yep, they are all of this batch of spells or some wording of giving the deceased power over water or air so you can breathe and drink again and also not get scalded.
Nice.
Another concern that they have. By water?
Well, because drinking hot water sucked.
It does. Drinking too hot water is super rough.
So hanging around raw, his water's always hot, bro.
Mm-hmm. So next batch of spells, 64 through 89, are coming forth by day.
Mm-hmm.
These spells are a little bit transforming, redefining, giving you the deceased new shape.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that would entail? What various shapes do you think that Egyptians are going to want their dead to have? Or be able to have?
Scarabs.
Scarabs is a good one. Not on the list.
Oh. An ibis, maybe a cat?
No ibis, no cat, but heron. Heron is one of them.
Heron, ibis, close enough.
Very close, I would say. So you could have spells for becoming a successor of Osiris, Falcon of Gold, Divine Falcon, Elder of the Tribunal, Lotus, Ptah, a phoenix, a heron, a living soul, a swallow, a snake, and a crocodile. Because you got to be able to fight them on their own terms, I guess.
Outstanding.
And then the last one, the spell 89 of this one, allows the Ba of the deceased to actually rejoin the deceased for the first time.
Right on.
And now that here's the thing, DJ. This is all prep work.
Yeah.
This is all still preparing you.
To be put in the coffin.
No. You are in the coffin. This is preparing your souls for it. And now, at spell 90 of 190.
Jesus.
You can enter the underworld. Now we are going into the
they're still putting in work for you after you even leave,
bro.
So
much want to make sure you're doing
They're your guy in the chair constantly hacking shit so you can get through security.
Mm-hmm. All this is going to be done. And now it feels like if this is what's okay, you're prepared. Now you have the Book of the Dead is essentially your guide, your handbook for getting through this shit. And now you're going to go into the underworld. And spell 90 is a spell for removing foolish speech from the mouth. The spell admonishes and repels an evil entity that cuts off heads and severs necks. You do not want to stumble over your words while doing these spells.
Yes.
You need perfect articulation. You don't need any fucking filler words. You don't want to accidentally say, oh God, what is that one I kept doing? Fury. I did it right. You don't want to say furry when you mean to say fury. You need perfect dictation.
I bet the placebo effect on that was fucking crazy. It's a spell, right?
Oh yeah, so it's just
like they're casting it on themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that the next set and just them casting it on themselves so that they have perfect dictation.
Uh-huh.
And suddenly they're just locked in and they think it's because of the spell.
It's very like, yeah, you're right. Placebo, it's very power pose. It's very the power of like good self-thought. Yeah, exactly that. Can you imagine? Okay, give me this. Crossover. We do crossover Percy Jackson and everyone else all the time, but give me crossover of Kane Chronicles and Magnus Chase. And instead of going and finding the magical mead, they just cast the spell on Magnus and then smack him in the back. Okay, go get him, kid. Perfect dictation to go after Loki. Saves us a ton of time, but that book is really about the journey and not the destination. Yeah. So next we have a couple spells that will allow the deceased to use the ferry boats in the underworld. We will jump to spells 1. Oh, so to be clear, I'm not saying every single spell or doing I'm just citing the ones that I thought sounded fun to mention.
Yeah.
So, like, if people, I'm pretty sure I said that before, but if I didn't.
We're not citing all 190 spells.
No, I'm not going to also cite
like,
all 40.
if you haven't caught on that yet, but.
I mentioned earlier the 42 things you are not supposed to do. I'm also not going to list all 42. Like, that's not good.
She's going to go through some of the lighter ones and some of the harder ones,
So
probably.
to highlight reel of ones I found interesting. So, spells 109, 108, and 109 ensures the deceased knows the souls of the West and the East. And this is specifically where we get the mention of the Field of Reeds.
Nice.
I'll talk more about the Field of Reeds because that's our destination. That is actually where we are trying to get to here. It's no longer like the celestial sky heavens with Ra. We are trying to get to the Field of Reeds where Osiris rules. Spell 110 is actually a depiction of the Field of Reeds. And it actually usually includes an illustration, which is nice. We'll talk a little bit more of details later. And then spells 112 to 116 names the souls of the sacred locations in Egypt. DJ, do you want to try to name some of these sacred locations? Where do you think they are?
Cairo.
The great one, no.
Giza?
No.
Valley of the Kings?
No.
I have no idea.
Actually, I don't know where Valley of the Kings is at. Hold on. Like, what's it near? Let me see. Luxor, it's in Luxor. So, at least in the translations we have, these secret locations are Pe, Nekhen, Hermopolis, and Heliopolis. Both of this are the Greek.
I might have
both of which are also the
two.
Greek names of those places.
Yeah.
So, moving on. Okay. Now we have this section only contains 3 spells: 124, 125, and 126. This is Judgment. This is where you, the deceased, are entering the Hall of Judgment. This is where we have the weighing of the weighing of the heart spell. DJ, what is that?
Your heart gets ripped out and it gets weighed against the feather of truth.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is you just they just have the heart. It doesn't seem that anyone's expressed a concern of like, where is that? Where does it come from? But yeah,
they just get it.
Pulling out the heart is my favorite part of any demonstrating the Egyptian afterlife.
It's very good. Love it.
Mm-hmm. So this is where you actually will meet Osiris. Like, this is the hall he is overseeing.
Yeah.
Anubis is going to be there. Thoth is going to be there. Like, everyone is here. Well, not everyone. These 3 players are here.
A lot of people are here.
Yep. And this is where you're going to make the negative confession. And it is essentially saying you have not done these 42 things in front of 42 judges, each representing one of the gnomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then your heart is weighed against on the scales against the feather of truth, the feather of Maat. And if you're found wanting, well, don't worry about that yet. The negative confessions, I found a translation from the Papyrus of Nu, which was from the Book of the Dead translated by E.A. Wallace Budge. And again, I don't have all 42 of them, but I've got like 12 that I specifically felt were, let's just say, applicable to these times.
Yeah.
These interesting times. So, I have not known men who were of no account. Meaning, I don't keep company with bastards. I have not defrauded the humble man of his property. I haven't screwed anybody over.
Mm-hmm.
I have not caused anyone to go hungry. I have not made any man to weep. I have not committed murder. I have not given the order for murder to be committed. And I liked both of those. I was like, oh, yeah, no fucking loopholes here. I have not caused calamities to befall men and women. I have not plundered the offerings in the temples. I have not carried away the milk from mouths of children. DJ, you said you were hoping for some lighter ones. Here's one for you. I have not caught fish with the bait made of bodies of the same kind of fish.
No cannibalism.
At least not for fish.
Not for fish.
I have not stopped water when it should flow. I have not extinguished a fire when it should burn.
Nice.
And again, that's just a highlight reel. There are 30 others. But those ones really spoke to me.
Yeah, those
these
are great.
interesting times we're living in. Largely because, I don't know, they're all about not causing harm.
Yeah.
Right? Like not going out of your way to cause harm, right?
Yeah.
Like stopping flowing water or putting fires out that are meant to like burn and create warmth and food. Not taking food away from kids. Not causing people to have hardships befall them because
Not taking
of your
mothers away
action.
from their kids.
Yeah, right? Like not causing calamities to befall men and women. I don't know, maybe about putting laws in place that hurt people. I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
not polluting the environment so much that an increase in natural disasters are causing absolute devastations in parts of the world that do not
Hate
have
to see
infrastructure that allow them to sustain this. Like,
really
I
not
don't know.
good.
And I also really
Not
like,
good, guys. Stop
not-
with the plastic bags already.
it's not even, no, it's
No,
not
no,
even,
I know.
it's
I know.
billionaires, eat
No,
the rich.
I know.
Like, the idea of the carbon footprint was an invention of BP oil to put the responsibility of what they were doing to the planet onto the individual. Yeah, we should use less plastics if we don't need it. But if someone needs a straw for mobility reasons, they should be allowed to use a plastic
100%.
straw, right? They are not causing hurricanes that are killing people. This has been Darian's rant. Also, I really liked the I have not known men who were of no account, which just really reads to me that it's like the company you keep also is going to reflect who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you didn't do bad shit, but did you know your buddy who you were emailing was doing bad shit? Maybe that guy shouldn't have been your buddy.
Yep.
Maybe you shouldn't have gone to the places of his residence. Just a thought.
Just a thought.
Just a thought. And this is interesting because the stepping back, getting off my soapbox just a little bit. I lied. I live on the soapbox. But back to the actual nature of the episode. The negative confessions. It's not clear. So it probably serves twofold. Like one, it really kind of helps us identify what Egyptian morality looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are things that would have caused someone to have their heart be heavier than the feather of truth. These are things, to do these things would have been against Mott, against order, against justice, against the overall like ancient Egyptian morality, right? I wish I knew about them when we did our Mott episode way back then, because that would have been a real good place to dig deep into it. But remember, these are also spells. This statement, the negative confessions, is included in the same place where we have a spell that's going to turn you into a lotus and make sure you don't get bit by snakes, right? And help you remember your name. So, is this a list of things, like, is this a script for you when you are deceased to remember? All right, and I have to make sure they know I didn't do this and did do this and did this. Or was this a series of spells to cast on your heart, which maybe you already have an amulet from way back in like section 2 to keep it from like betraying you, to make sure you're casting a spell on what is on the scales to ensure it is lighter.
Outstanding. Cheating the system. Really funny.
And then to be fair, yeah, I mean, actually, no, to be honest, I feel like it'd be way easier just to follow these rules and be a cool, chill dude that doesn't cause harm to other people, right? And to make amends when you have fumbled. Because if you're innocent, you will be led to Osiris. And if your heart has been found wanting, well, Ammut the Devourer's gonna eat it.
You got eaten.
And this is where, and now we have a mini bonus episode. It's an episode within an episode. We're gonna talk about Ammut. DJ, what do you remember about Ammut from the Kane Chronicles?
He was like a small dog, effectively near Anubis, that they fed bad souls to.
Yes, do you remember what it looked like?
I know Ammut's a crocodile, so probably a crocodile, but I don't remember what it looked like in the book now.
Okay. Yes, this is Ammut Devourer. This is the entity that resides in the Hall of Judgment and will eat souls that have been found wanting, right? This is why you need the Book of the Dead. You do not want to have your essence devoured. That's end game. You're gone. Yeah. That is the second death we don't want to see happen to you. So Ammut was commonly depicted with the head of the crocodile, the forelegs and upper body of a lion, or a leopard possibly, and then the hind legs and lower body of a hippopotamus. Like 3 major predators of the Nile region.
Yeah.
Though commonly referred to as female in the accompanying text, these depictions, Ammut would sometimes have a mane of the male lion,
Mm-hmm.
And that could just be for aesthetic, because
Yeah.
even when there's a main, the text still uses female words to describe Ammut.
Yeah.
And this might be why Rick Riordan has Carter and Sadie disagree on whether the, quote, hippodoodle, as Sadie calls this creature, is a boy or a girl. Because you said he earlier. And
I said he because it was the book.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, that's weird. Why did Rick do that? And then I went digging and I remembered, oh, right. No, Carter is like, I'm pretty sure Ammut's a girl. And Sadie's like, no, definitely a boy. I can tell. And that feels kind of a crazy thing to do, but it could be. Again, we're going to give, at the end of the season, Rick a little bit more credit than I've been giving him all season long.
Well, it's it's a jab at the people just going off of the main thing, and Carter himself being like,
If you read the hieroglyphics.
if you actually knew.
Yeah, like why? This thing in the temple of Hathor and Dendera looks like a light bulb? That's kind of crazy. Yeah, we do find patterns in our human brain, but if you read the hieroglyphics next to it, it's actually describing the lotus that created all things. So I can assure you, ancient Egyptians didn't have electric lighting.
Yeah.
Okay, she's getting off her soapbox. All right, so Ammut's name literally means devourer of the dead, because her purpose is to devour the hearts of those who were found wanting. And this entity, she did not have a major presence before the New Kingdom.
Oh.
Prior to the Book of the Dead, texts such as like the pyramid texts in the Old Kingdom or the Middle Kingdom coffin texts would describe Khonshu as being the devourer of the dead in hearts. We talked a little bit about this in the Khonshu episode. But when the Book of the Dead comes around, we see this role has been specifically given to Ammut. And much like Apophis, unsurprisingly, no cults of worship.
Wow.
Yeah,
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? Which leads again to the question, demon or deity? And DJ, this time I have an answer.
Oh, really?
I do. I found what I couldn't find last time. A journal article talking about this exact topic.
Hey.
So, this is a 2010 article called Demons, parentheses, Benevolent and Malevolent, published in the UCLA Encyclopedia of Egyptology by Egyptologist and professor Rita Lucarelli. And she actually addresses this question. That's entirely what her article is about. So, quote, the main difference between demon and deity seems that demons received no cult, at least until the New Kingdom. Within the hierarchy of supernatural beings, demons are the subordinate to gods. Although they possess special powers, these powers are not universal, but rather limited in nature and scope. In general, their influence is circumscribed to one single task, and in certain cases, they act under the command of a deity. Kind of like you said, DJ, the difference is that maybe a deity embodies an entire concept, whereas a demon kind of does or operates in or represents one kind of thing.
Yeah.
Lucarelli also argues that demons, at least in this Egyptian context, can be recognized as two major categories: malevolent wanderers and benevolent guardians. Quote, wandering demons travel between this world and the beyond, acting as emissaries for deities or on their own accord. They can bring diseases, nightly terrors, and misfortune, and are therefore basically malevolent. Guardian demons are tied to a specific locality, either in the beyond or on Earth, and they protect their locality from intrusion and pollution, and as such, their function is rather benevolent. So, it would not be incorrect to classify Ammut as a guardian demon, not a goddess. So what about Apophis? Lucarelli mentions Apophis as well!
Nice.
However, because of his central and unique role as cosmic enemy of the sun god, Apep stands outside the categories of gods and demons. So, Apophis is neither.
All right.
Shout out. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Love to see it.
I was like, this is what I wanted. And so I'm happy it turned up.
Outstanding. We love to see it here.
And that is our Ammut episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Okay, DJ. So you cast the spells, or you were just a cool guy. Your heart is lighter than the feather of Mott, and you get escorted over to Osiris. You get to be with Osiris. What do you think happens next?
A feast.
Oh, if only next you get to go into the Duats on the Bark of Ra, because you're not done yet.
All right.
Now you get to go on if you thought it was hard beforehand, now you're going to go on an even more perilous journey into the Duat to get to the Field of Reeds. Because we're only on spell 127.
Oh, great.
This spell is the worshipping of the gods in the caverns, and it's essentially an instruction manual on how to deal with entities who the deceased is going to pass along the way. Spell 131 is for being in the presence of Ra. You don't want to embarrass yourself in front of Ra, right? Spell 136b is for sailing the great bark of Ra and passing over the circle of fire. Because that's pretty cool. Even though you're not going to hang out with Ra forever, you do get to go on one of his like nightly journeys, and that's pretty dope.
That's awesome.
Next, we get to 144 through 150, which is a collection of helping you navigate gates, caverns, mounds, and guardians. This section is, I would imagine, where Rick Riordan gets his interpretation of the underworld, like passing through each of the houses, going through each of the gates. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to start spell 144, and it's going to list the names of the creatures serving as keeper, guard, and announcer at each of the gates. And the exact number of gates actually varies on sources. Sometimes it's as low as 7. Sometimes it's as high as 21.
Nice.
But you need to know the gates because you need to know the names of the guardians and be able to persuade them to let you through. And in the translation I'm pulling from, you would, like, the spell would go, "Oh, you gates, you who keep the gates because of Osiris. Oh, you who guard them and report the affairs of the two lands to Osiris every day. I know you and I know your names." And these names would be things like he who lives on snakes, hippopotamus-faced raging of power, mistress of anger, dancing on blood. Those two are together. They are connected. And powerful of knives.
Nice.
So you need to be, what I'm getting is the vibe of like that dude who knows all his neighbors, so everyone like kind of likes him because he always says hi and knows your name and asks about your dog.
I love that guy. I don't know nothing about him, but he's a kind dude.
Yeah, you're just like, you're going to be a little bit more like open and like chill. You're a little less like reserved because he's like, "Hey, DJ, how are you doing? How's Cash?" And you're like, "I'm doing great. I don't know your name though." But wow, you know me and I know your face. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Now we're going to go to spell 148, which is for making provisions for a spirit in the realm of the dead. This spell gives you more names, specifically the names of the bull of heaven and his 7 cows. And knowing these names will provide you an eternal supply of food and beer.
Nice. Love to see it.
Back in the Hawthorne episode, we got on a little bit of tangent trying to figure out, like, wait, is it wine? Is it beer? Is it tequila? Like, what do they have in Egypt?
Yeah.
It's beer.
It's beer. Great.
The environment was not super, like, you weren't having vineyards, right? So growing like wheat, barley, beer was the big one of the Nile.
Awesome.
Now we go to spell for 154, because if you think you need to stop worrying about your body, like your physical form, just because you're this far into the duat, no, you fucking don't, you fool. This one's called Not Letting the Corpse Perish, because this spell describes the decomposition of the body.
Wow.
But don't worry, you will triumph over it.
Yeah. You've been mummified properly.
Yep. Now we're going to skip a couple later just to reiterate this fact, because spell 6163 is actually for preventing a man's corpse from putrefying in the realm of the dead in order to rescue him from the Eater of Souls. Is this Ammut? Is this Khonshu? I'm not fucking sure.
Who knows?
We got really worried about it, so we just had to circle back. Get to spell 175. It is a spell for not dying again. Spell 176, another spell for not dying again. Spell 177, a spell for rising up the spirit and causing the soul to live in the realm of the dead, which I would interpret as not dying again. Spell 187 is actually a spell for going into the Aeneid, for actually meeting the gods, the whole group. And then we were going to finish off with spell 189, which is not eating feces or drinking urine. Again, not getting turned inside out, because even though you're here, you're at the end, you're done. You've got past all the gates, all the guardians, all the gods. You're ready to meet everybody. You still have to worry about being turned inside out.
Yeah. It's not good.
It's not good. But if you've done all that, you made it past the weighing of the heart, and you've got through all the gates, you are here, you've done it, you are in the field of reeds. DJ, do you know, what do you think the field of reeds, what does the Egyptian afterlife end goal look like?
Just a lot of food. I don't know. I have no idea.
You are picturing Valhalla.
I mean, yeah. So
I'm just saying. I love that. I just you were picturing Valhalla.
I don't know what the Egyptians would want, like a dream like afterlife to be like.
So I was kind of surprised when I found out this is what the afterlife looked like. But it actually...
Is it just like a field of golden reeds? That's all it is?
DJ, the field of reeds, also called Aru, is just the essence of the Nile Delta.
Okay.
It is literally a field of reeds. The most fertile area of all of Egypt. Full of animals, ideal for hunting and ideal for farming.
New Game Plus, but on easy mode.
Yeah. It means, so this hunting and farming fertile grounds, it means your soul will live without having to worry about famine or drought.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still essentially a physical place. It's not an endless feast for you and your buddies to party and then fight and then party again. Like,
outstanding.
It's basically you're just kind of back home.
We're doing it again, baby.
And
We're running it back.
And that is why
I brought all my stuff with me.
And that is why they're sent with all their stuff. That is why we have the tombs and the temples of the pharaohs that were full
it's just
of
waiting
their
at
goods.
like a fucking baggage claim
Yes!
once you get through.
You had to get through, like, who's carrying it? Well, all of the Shopti that they had because here's a fun thing I learned. In the early dynasties.
Yeah, they killed their slaves and put their souls into the Shopti.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also not just, not usually.
It's not just the slaves. Like a lot of
actual other, not even slaves. It's like, hi, this was a great honor to guarantee you, especially remember when we talked about in the pyramid text times, it was just the pharaohs. So if you, just a dude who like worked, you're like a guard. You're not going to get buried in a pyramid. You're not going to get a pyramid text. You're not going to get this like passage to Ra. Or I guess it's not, because this was like bringing you into the heavens, and the this one would have, you need all your stuff because you're actually going to still need to like farm and hunt and shit like that. So it's not the perfect one-to-one. But like the idea being, hey, this is actually great. It means you get a good afterlife compared to what anyone else is going to get, because you're going to go continue to serve the king, but
Can
with
I bring
the
my wife
gods.
and kids? You only get 1 + 1. I'm taking my buddy.
Well, here's
if
the
I
thing.
can't get both my family, I'm taking my buddy. Get over here, bud.
Oh, yeah. So that's why you have like, you need all your servants and everything in the afterlife, because you are just going to like back home.
Yeah.
But like in a version of back home where you're going to sometimes see like Osiris walking by, because this is where he rules, and maybe you'll get to see Horus and Isis like one-on-one. But it is like just a physical place where you still need to farm and you still need to hunt.
Yeah. As I said, New Game Plus on easy mode.
New Game Plus on easy mode.
Great, dude.
That's basically
That's awesome.
And that is going through the Egyptian afterlife. DJ, real quick, just hey, name one spell from the Book of the Dead.
Getting your name back.
Good job. And that is why you would.
I wouldn't.
No.
I'd be super reliant on my Book of the Dead, and I'd immediately lose that bad boy. I'd like, and I'd fumble it. I'd trip, and it'd slide off the big stone column bridge where I'm walking down. I'm like, oh no. And I get up and I look around, and I'm like, oh fuck.
No, I mean, that was my point. That is why you need the Book of the Dead, but I wasn't prepared for you to then lose it.
Yeah, I hate to see it.
No, that's real fear. New fear. New fear unlocked. I lost my copy of the Book of the Dead at the start of the afterlife.
Oh, and you're just bullshitting your way through the whole time. It's like, oh yeah, you still have your locket, so that you get the one lie.
DJ, what was, do you recall any of the 42 negative confessions?
One of them was, I wasn't around people who are without an account.
Hey, well done. Okay. You don't have to use your one on that. But yeah, and again, I didn't get to close to
most of it. Yeah.
I think maybe I glossed over 20% of what the Book of the Dead is.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
It's a lot. That's
It's
why
190 spells.
It's a lot. And even if you were a cool dude, you're not guaranteed to get there.
Yeah.
You still got to go through all the gates.
Yeah.
And hope that snakes don't bite you. Like,
hope that people don't get into your area.
So that's the Book of the Dead. That is, I feel like, a good sunset on the truly Egyptian part of this season. The next 2 episodes we're going to cover, And they might end up being one episode. It kind of depends on how much there actually is to talk about from the short stories.
Mhm.
Like, we're definitely going to do the short stories. But if what the mythology is that we haven't already discussed offers enough to be its own episode, or if that's something we're going to do together, we'll let you know when we do the episode. But the next thing is going to be getting back into Roman and Greek stuff with the crossover stories with Percy Jackson. So, but this is the final episode that is just Egyptian mythology.
Yep.
And it's been a hell of a time.
That it has. It's been so much fun. Doing Norse and Egyptian back to back may be a mistake.
It was just different. I just wanted to be different than when everybody else on the Percy Jackson pod. I wanted to do what anyone else did is different. No one goes straight from Percy Jackson to Magnus Chase, and no one does the Kane Chronicles before Magnus Chase. But we did, and it was. That's not true. Seaweed Brain also did the Kane Chronicle, or did Magnus Chase before the Kane Chronicles, and they did the books all in. It was. I love them so much.
They've been doing longer than
That
us.
was fun. I got to be on several of those. Now they're talking about the show, and they get to interview like everybody from the show because they're the coolest people in the world. But that's where we're at, and now we're gonna go. We're gonna get to. I'm really excited to talk about Lost Hero with you, DJ.
It's going to be great. I'm
'Cause
excited.
You love the Lost Hero. You
I
are
like
one
these
of the
books.
few who
I like
loves
these
the
books.
Lost Hero. So it's gonna be a good time. So DJ, how confident are you that you could navigate the Egyptian underworld?
Not super.
Not me neither. Me neither. And it's so complicated. And honestly, actually, before we fully mosey out, I would like to ask you a different question. What's something that you really liked discussing this season? Anything that you learned that you thought you were particularly like, hey, that was neat?
Honestly, all the choices Rick made have been a lot of fun to just be like pointing out and be like, why did you do this, dude?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's a choice that was made and you're like, but the original shit was better.
Yes, right? Isn't that so frustrating? You're like, yeah, but I do think what they had here. I don't.
It was
think you
kind of
should- I
better.
don't
You
think
had some
change-
really cool ideas, but you were too afraid to address them.
Yeah, I think my favorite part has been how often we've just been like, if you just commit to this whole the gods embody a different thing after they have a host thing. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
we could have gone places.
dude,
We could
again,
have gone places.
Carter, Sadie, twins. They're 14,
Mm-hmm.
and now Isis is in the running for Pharaoh.
So, give it to me, her. Oh man,
And so now they're both vying for the power and both being like, oh shit, take the throne. And like, we'll run it both heaven and earth. And they're
Yeah.
both doing that. Oh, that would have been fun.
like yeah, if you're gonna do it, do it. But I think when it comes down to like Rick Riordan as a core role, even though he'll like make crazy choices and how he chooses to adapt the characters of the mythic figures, he's not
He's not going to touch the broad mythology.
Yeah, like Apollo doesn't get to leave Olympus, right?
He doesn't
Zeus
get to
doesn't
leave
get
the
to be
Olympus.
overthrown. We are, even though we're going to introduce this idea of the gods having multiple variations because of the humans they embody, we aren't going to move anything farther than what Plutarch told us in his
Yeah.
fucking. I'm done talking about Plutarch. I'm fucking done talking about Plutarch. I bet I'm going to have to talk about Plutarch all
You're
the time.
so going to have to talk about Plutarch.
We'll
You
see.
kidding
I
me?
don't know this man's overall bibliography. Okay. Well, that's it for this episode. We will be back in your ears going to talk about... Do you know anything about the short stories?
No.
Oh,
Every time we've done short stories for the show, it's my first time listening to all of these.
nice. These ones in particular, we'll talk about it when we do it. We'll
Great.
talk about when we do the episode. So we will be back in your ears on Tuesday, March the 10th to talk about demigods and magicians.
Woo!
And until then, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.